Right, so get ready, because we're diving deep into one of the most bizarre true crime cases you've probably never even heard of.
Oh, yeah.
It's 1935,
Got it?
Sydney, Australia,
Right.
a time of economic hardship,
Mm-hmm.
and as we'll see, some seriously shady dealings.
Oh, wow.
Our source material this time,
Okay.
Philip Roop's book, Shark Arm, which meticulously breaks down this mystery.
Right.
And this mystery starts with a gruesome discovery at the Coogee Aquarium baths.
What's so captivating about this case
Yeah.
is the sheer randomness of it all.
Really?
Imagine it's a sunny day, people are enjoying themselves at the aquarium, and then out of nowhere, a captive tiger shark coughs up a human arm.
Oh my gosh.
Not just any arm, mind you.
Okay.
This is where it gets really strange.
Oh,
The arm was cleanly severed at the shoulder,
Oh, wow.
not bitten off as you might expect.
Right.
And to make things even creepier, it had a distinctive tattoo of two boxers on it.
Oh my.
Clearly something sinister was going on here. It wasn't just a freak accident.
Right.
It was a murder investigation waiting to happen.
Absolutely. That clean cut, that tattoo, it all pointed toward foul play.
Right.
Suddenly, this seemingly ordinary day at the aquarium
Yeah.
became the starting point of a mystery that gripped the entire nation.
The whole country.
So how did they even begin to unravel this mystery back in 1935?
Well,
I mean, forensic science wasn't exactly what it is today.
right.
Did they even have the tools to identify the victim?
It's fascinating to consider how much forensic science has evolved.
Yeah.
Back then, they were just starting to use techniques like fingerprinting,
Mhm.
which was still pretty groundbreaking.
Oh!
Thankfully, the tattoo played a huge role in this case.
Right.
It was so unique that it led them straight to the victim, Jim Smith.
Jim Smith. And here's where the case takes a turn into the dark underbelly of 1930 Sydney.
Uh-oh.
Turns out Smith wasn't just some random guy.
Oh, really?
He was a known criminal,
Okay.
deeply entangled in the city's underworld.
And what an underworld it was.
Yeah.
Sydney in the 1930s was a city reeling from the Great Depression.
Right?
Unemployment was rampant.
Mm-hmm.
Poverty was widespread.
Yeah.
And crime was a way of life for many.
Wow.
You had gangs running rampant illegal gambling dens.
Oh my gosh.
And a whole network of racketeering and corruption. To understand this case, you really need to understand the context of this time.
It paints a pretty bleak picture, doesn't it?
It
A
does.
city struggling to survive.
Yeah.
And within that, a whole hidden world of criminal activity.
It's true.
So where did Jim Smith fit into all of this?
Well,
What do we know about his life, his connections, his enemies?
Jim Smith was a petty criminal, an ex-boxer, a gambler.
Okay.
And he was involved in a number of shady dealings.
Got it.
The police had a file on him,
Mm-hmm.
and they knew he moved in dangerous circles.
Right.
To add to the complexity, the investigation revealed that Smith had ties to some particularly notorious figures in Sydney's underworld.
Oh, no.
We're talking about the likes of Reginald Whip Connolly, a ruthless gangster who controlled much of the city's illegal gambling,
Okay.
and Larry Deans,
Mm-hmm.
a corrupt police officer deeply embedded in organized crime.
Wow, those are some serious players.
They are.
It sounds like Smith was swimming with sharks, both literally and figuratively.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And as investigators dug deeper into Smith's life,
Yeah.
they uncovered notes and documents hinting at financial disputes, possible blackmail schemes,
Oh, wow.
and a whole web of potential motives for someone to want him gone.
So they had the victim. They had a possible motive.
Right.
But do they have any leads on who might have actually committed the crime?
Well,
Who were the prime suspects that emerged from this initial investigation?
two names quickly rose to the top of the list.
Okay.
Reginald Holmes,
Mm-hmm.
a businessman with a shady past and a possible connection to Smith's criminal activities,
Okay.
and Patrick Brady,
Okay.
an associate of Smith's who seemed to have vanished right around the time of the murder.
Holmes and Brady. Two very different characters, both with potential motives and connections to the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Did the investigation reveal anything more about their involvement?
Well,
Or was it all just speculation at this point?
here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh.
Holmes, under intense pressure from the police, eventually cracked.
Oh, wow.
He confessed to being involved in a plot against Smith,
Oh.
but in a twist that no one saw coming.
What?
He pointed the finger squarely at Brady,
Okay.
claiming that Brady was the mastermind behind the whole scheme.
Ah, the classic blame game.
It is.
So what did Brady have to say for himself?
That's a great question.
Was there any evidence to back up Holmes's claim?
Well,
Or was it simply one man's word against another's?
That's the question that would ultimately be decided in court. The
Okay.
stage was set for a trial that would captivate the nation,
Oh, wow.
with a cast of characters straight out of a crime novel,
Right.
and more twists and turns than you could shake a stick at.
All right, before we jump into the trial itself,
Yeah.
let's take a moment to consider what we've learned so far.
Okay.
We have a bizarre murder mystery, a victim with ties to the criminal underworld,
Right.
and two prime suspects with conflicting stories.
Yes.
This is already shaping up to be one wild ride.
It is. The trial was a media sensation. Newspapers were filled with stories about the shark arm murder, and the public was utterly captivated by the gruesome details and the intricate web of crime and corruption that it exposed.
It must have been quite a spectacle. Can you paint us a picture of the courtroom atmosphere? What were some of the key arguments presented by the prosecution and the defense?
Imagine a packed courtroom buzzing with anticipation.
Okay.
The prosecution, determined to secure a conviction, focused on building a timeline that linked Holmes and Brady to Smith's disappearance.
Yeah.
They emphasized the fact that both men had clear motives, and they presented Holmes's confession, albeit coerced, as a key piece of evidence.
But Brady had always maintained his innocence, hadn't he? What was his defense strategy against these accusations? Did he have an alibi, or did he try to shift the blame onto someone else entirely?
Brady's defense team was quite skilled. They attacked the reliability of Holmes's confession,
Right.
arguing that he was simply trying to save his own skin by implicating Brady.
Okay.
They painted Brady as a victim of circumstance caught in a web spun by a more cunning and ruthless criminal.
So it essentially became a battle of credibility. The jury had to decide who to believe, the confessed accomplice or the accused who insisted he was being framed. What about the other witnesses? Did their testimony shed any light on the events leading up to Smith's disappearance?
The trial featured a parade of witnesses, each with their own perspective on the events leading up to Smith's disappearance.
Right.
And each adding another layer of complexity to the case.
Oh, wow.
Some corroborated parts of Holmes' story, while others contradicted his claims,
Got it.
creating a confusing and often contradictory narrative for the jury to decipher.
It sounds like a real-life courtroom drama filled with twists and turns and unreliable narrators. Did the forensic evidence, the arm itself, offer any definitive clues that could help the jury reach a verdict?
Forensic experts testified at length about the condition of the arm,
Yeah.
the nature of the cut, and the estimated time of death.
Okay.
They confirmed that the arm had been severed with a sharp instrument,
Right.
consistent with foul play, but they couldn't pinpoint the exact time or location of Smith's death.
Okay.
This lack of conclusive forensic evidence left the jury with more questions than answers, forcing them to rely heavily on the often conflicting testimonies of those involved in the case.
It seems like the jury had a monumental task before them, weighing the evidence, considering the credibility of the witnesses, and trying to discern the truth from a tangled web of accusations and denials. How do they navigate this complex landscape?
The jury deliberated for weeks, grappling with the weight of the evidence and the conflicting narratives presented during the trial.
Wow.
The media, of course, was having a field day, speculating on the verdict and dissecting every detail of the case.
Right.
The pressure on the jury must have been immense.
So after weeks of deliberation, did the jury manage to reach a verdict? Did they find Patrick Brady guilty or not guilty of the murder of Jim Smith?
After what felt like an eternity, the jury finally delivered their verdict.
Okay.
Patrick Brady was found guilty of the murder of Jim Smith.
A guilty verdict. Does that mean justice was served? Or were there still unanswered questions, lingering doubts that the full truth of the shark arm case would ever be revealed?
The trial provided a legal resolution, a guilty verdict, but it didn't necessarily provide closure or answer all the lingering questions about what truly transpired.
What kind of questions lingered even after the trial concluded? What aspects of the case remained shrouded in mystery?
Well, for starters, no one ever confessed to the actual killing.
Oh, wow.
The physical act of severing Smith's arm
Right.
and the details of how his body ended up in the shark's stomach were never fully revealed. There were gaps in the timeline, inconsistencies in the testimonies.
Right.
And a pervasive sense that some secrets might have gone to the grave along with Jim Smith.
So even with a guilty verdict, the shark arm case remained an enigma, a puzzle with missing pieces. It's almost as if the case itself mirrors the murky depths of the Sydney underworld. It exposed full of shadows and hidden truths.
That's a very insightful observation. The shark arm case transcended the boundaries of a simple crime story.
Yeah.
It offered a glimpse into a hidden world of corruption, violence, and the complexities of the criminal justice system in a time of immense social and economic upheaval.
Right.
It raised questions about the nature of truth, the pursuit of justice, and the limits of what we can truly know about the past.
And yet, despite these lingering uncertainties, the case continues to capture our imagination, doesn't it? What do you think accounts for the enduring fascination with the shark arm murder?
It's a combination of factors. I believe the sheer bizarreness of the discovery itself, a human arm regurgitated by a shark in a public aquarium, is an image that's hard to shake.
Yeah.
It taps into our primal fears and morbid curiosities. Then there's the enduring mystery. The unanswered questions that fuel endless speculation and debate. Was justice truly served?
Right.
Were all the guilty parties held accountable? Or did some powerful figures manage to escape scrutiny?
It's like a puzzle where some of the pieces are still missing, inviting us to fill in the blanks with our own theories and interpretations.
Exactly. And finally, there's the historical context. The shark arm case provides a fascinating window into a specific time and place, 1930s Sydney, a city grappling with economic hardship, social unrest, and a thriving criminal underbelly.
So it's a case that works on multiple levels. It's a gripping crime story, a historical snapshot, and a reminder that some mysteries never truly go away, no matter how much time passes or how many verdicts are handed down.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think that something that happened nearly a century ago can still hold such power over us.
It is.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what is it about these unsolved mysteries,
Right.
these glimpses into the darker side of human nature that keeps us coming back for more?
I think it speaks to a fundamental human desire to understand the world around us,
Yeah,
to make sense of the chaos and uncertainty of life.
right.
We crave order.
Yeah,
We seek explanations, and when those explanations are elusive,
right.
it only deepens our fascination.
Especially when the story involves something as inherently unsettling
Oh, yeah.
as a severed arm found in a shark's stomach.
Right.
It's like a real-life horror movie.
Yeah.
Except this time the monster isn't some fictional creature.
Right.
It's the darkness that lurks within our own species.
Precisely. The shark arm case forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that even in seemingly civilized societies, there exist undercurrents of violence, greed, and desperation that can erupt in shocking and unexpected ways.
So for our listener who has been on this journey with us,
Yeah.
this deep dive into the murky depths of the shark arm case,
Right.
what are some of the key takeaways?
Well,
What should they be pondering as they go about their day?
yeah.
Perhaps looking a little more suspiciously at the people around them.
Well, I think this case highlights the fragility of life,
Right,
the thin veneer of normalcy that can be shattered in an instant.
right.
It also reminds us that appearances can be deceiving.
Yeah.
Jim Smith, the victim, was a criminal, yes, but he was also a human being caught in a web of circumstances that ultimately led to his demise.
It's a reminder that everyone has a story,
They do.
a complex tapestry of choices, motivations, and experiences that shape who they are.
That's true.
And sometimes those stories end in tragedy, leaving behind a ripple effect of pain, mystery, and unanswered questions.
The shark arm case also serves as a cautionary tale about the allure of easy money and the dangers of getting involved in criminal activities.
Right.
Jim Smith's story reminds us that the underworld, despite its allure, is often a dangerous and deadly place where loyalty is fleeting and betrayal can have fatal consequences.
It's a world where the rules are different,
Yeah,
where the line between right and wrong becomes blurred,
it's true.
and where even the most cunning and ruthless players can become victims of their own ambitions.
That's right. And finally, I think the shark arm case underscores the importance of critical thinking,
Okay.
of questioning assumptions, and of seeking out multiple perspectives.
Right.
The truth, as we've seen, is often elusive, hidden beneath layers of deceit, conflicting narratives, and passage of time.
It's a reminder that we should never take anything at face value,
No.
that we should always be willing to dig deeper, to ask questions, and to challenge the official versions of events,
It's true.
especially when those events involve power corruption and the potential for cover-ups.
Absolutely. The search for truth is an ongoing process, and the shark arm case, despite its legal resolution, continues to invite us to examine the evidence, to weigh the possibilities, and to draw our own conclusions about what may have transpired on that fateful night in 1935.
Well said. And for our listener, if you're as intrigued by this case as we are, I highly recommend checking out Philip Roop's book, Shark Arm.
It's a good one.
It's a meticulously researched account of the case, full of twists and turns that will keep you on the edge of your seat.
And Beyond the book itself, there are countless articles, documentaries, and even fictionalized accounts inspired by the shark arm case. It's a story that has permeated popular culture, demonstrating its enduring power to fascinate and disturb. So dive in, explore the many facets of this case, and perhaps like the investigators and the jury before you watch, you'll find yourself drawn into a web of intrigue that's as captivating as it is unsettling.
So to wrap up our deep dive into the shark arm case, we're left with a sense of wonder, a touch of morbid curiosity, and renewed appreciation for the complexities of history and human nature. It's a reminder that the past is never truly past, that its echoes continue to resonate in the present, and that sometimes the most compelling stories are the ones that leave us with more questions than answers. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking the truth wherever it may lead.